In the following documentation, I will show a short clip of one of the gang member criminals who the Gatineau police have given an early release from prison for partaking in criminal harassment and stalking operations. Also, CSIS and the RCMP sent these violent criminals, many of whom are associated with gangs, criminal motorcycle gangs who are involved in the drug trade. This guy has all sorts of these sort of gang-looking tattoos all over him, and he's got a tattoo of a rose on the side of his head, on the side of his skull. And the rose, of course, is very important within Freemasonry, and of course Rosicrucianism directly tied to Freemasonry. Now, a lot of these gangs and street-level thugs who they use might not be directly connected with the lodges, but the connection to Freemasonry is that they're used by the lodges to do these activities and by the intelligence services because they use violent criminals and thugs to attempt to intimidate and silence people who expose police corruption. Because the police are dishonest, dishonorable criminals who don't uphold laws, they resort to criminal tactics like this of trying to threaten and intimidate people. Now, I have numerous other occasions as well when I had exposed, the Gatineau police and their corruption. Also filming a Masonic lodge in Aylmer, Quebec, and just filming the outside of the lodge. At that point, the police had been sending this really, really heavy-set biker gang member with all sorts of satanic tattoos all over his body to continually follow me, and they made it very clear that he was being intentionally sent to follow me on public transit, because he'd show up constantly. He'd follow me when I was leaving and when I was coming back. Even when I would leave at different times, they'd send him to show up. They'd often have him get right up close and sit next to me to try to intimidate. But when they do these things, they set it up so it's not meant to stand out much to other people around. It's just meant to be specifically directed toward the subject of the CSIS harassment campaign. So CSIS and the RCMP using violent criminals, giving them early release from prison for having them agree to sign on and become community-based agents and partake in criminally harassing and stalking people who speak the truth. So this individual here has been sent on multiple occasions as well, and so you can see the photograph of him here. Now, I noticed him right away because it's not common to see people with these covered all over their body and their head with these gang tattoos and, the rose associated with Freemasonry. So they would send him, and then he made sure that I would see him when he was getting on, too. And then that was it a week and a half ago or maybe 2 weeks ago? And then of course, yesterday, after putting out a video talking about the direct connections between Freemasonry and police corruption, they're sending these violent criminals to attempt to intimidate me. But this is how deceitful and devious these people are. What they've done is they know that I record these activities and that I'm going to put it online. So they have this guy getting on, and they even have these people, they tell them to exploit their own children in these operations. That's how sick they are. So he's getting on, and to make it look innocent, because they know I'm going to film it, he gets on with his couple kids to make it look like he's taking them to school. But this is not a routine that he follows, because previously I had not seen him coming home this route at all. So I just got the footage of him here, but he himself is exploiting his own children in these operations on behalf of the state who instruct him to do these things. That's how sick these people are, and that's how sick Dan Rogers of CSIS and Michael Duheme of the RCMP are. They have no empathy. They will exploit anyone, women, children, the elderly. So I caught the footage of the guy here, and again, I know he's specifically being sent to intimidate me, so I'll see him, because on this occasion here, I believe the footage caught it, he's wearing a Pink Floyd shirt, and the shirt he's wearing is Pink Floyd's The Division Bell, the album The Division Bell by the band Pink Floyd. And I used to listen to Pink Floyd a fair bit years back. I guess they were one of my favorite bands, I guess. I wouldn't say they were my favorite, but one of them. Now, I don't really listen to that type of music anymore. Since, really coming back to Christianity, I've turned away from a lot of that. music that I used to listen to, because overall, even though some of it may sound good, it's harmful, and there's a lot of subconscious programming in music. And when you come to understand who the people really are who make this music, the things they're involved in, you just don't want to support them anymore. But at any rate, the reason he's wearing the shirt is because a couple days before, I had just randomly happened to click on a link for Pink Floyd's The Division Bell, and I was just listening to a couple of the tracks. Again, I don't like that music that much anymore, but I had just found myself, I don't know, listening to it for some reason, and I shouldn't have been, but anyway, I was. So they have him get on, because I'm being monitored in my home, wearing the Pink Floyd Division Bell shirt, just to make it obvious to me that he's there specifically to intimidate me and threaten me from CSIS and the RCMP, and also that I'm being monitored in my home. So they have him wearing the shirt of something that I was listening to just a couple days before. This guy doesn't even look like he would be the type that would listen to that music. I don't know, though. I don't know for sure. But at any rate, he's just being used and told, here, put this shirt on so that I see it. And they want to make sure that I see it when he gets on. It's all about threatening and intimidation. And they use people who are connected with the drug trade, criminals, and gangs. I've already shown evidence of the Ottawa police and CSIS sending that other low IQ goon to make threats of violence against me. So these are the tactics they use, and these are not tactics that legitimate organizations would use. Like I've said before, the Canadian police, CSIS, and the RCMP are not legitimate organizations. They're organized crime syndicates. They allow criminals to operate their drug trades, and it's all covered up by the Canadian media, who know these things are going on, and who simply just get handed scripts and told what to say to cover up the police drug trafficking. Another lie that they're continually pushing is this narrative blaming China for the drugs in Canada, when the drugs wouldn't even be able to get in if the Canadian security services connected with our intelligence services were doing anything to attempt to deter the drugs from getting in. So we know those are all lies they're putting out. At any rate, this is one of the criminal thugs here. And the picture of him here is from the previous occasion when he was sent, and then you'll see he's getting on again, and I think you can kind of see he's wearing the Pink Floyd shirt, the Division Bell, because I was listening to that exact music a few days before. Again, it's Dan Rogers of CSIS, Michael Duheme of the RCMP, others such as the Gatineau police sending criminals and drug dealers to attempt to threaten and intimidate me because of my videos that I put out exposing their corruption and documenting their years of stalking and harassment against me. And as I just do a quick freeze frame of the footage here, you can clearly see, it's a little bit blurry, but you can see he's wearing that shirt, Pink Floyd, and it is the cover of the album Pink Floyd's The Division Bell, which was exactly what I had been listening to a couple days ago. And so they're obviously having him wear this to direct it at me, and also so I'll know that he's being sent intentionally. You can see this guy, he kind of looks like somebody who would be a biker gang member. He's got the tattoos all over his head and all over his parts of his face and whatnot, and so they have him wearing that, and he turns it partially towards me so I'll see it. So again, they tell these people what clothing to wear. They tell them everything to do basically in these operations, and it's high level of probability that this guy was just given an early release from prison. So what the police and these other criminals, these Freemason criminals with CSIS and the RCMP do, is they have these programs where they'll give violent criminals and gang members early release if they agree to partake in these operations for them. And so they use them to stalk, harass, and terrorize law-abiding citizens and people who have spoken the truth about police corruption. And this isn't the first occasion. We're talking about many different times when the police have sent such thugs to intimidate me and make threats against me and try to attack me. You saw the footage not too long ago as well of that guy wearing the red hoodie who was sent by the Drugtrafficking Ottawa police to make a threat against me as well. And to to start accusing me of filming when he had no way of knowing that I was even filming to begin with, other than the fact that he had been told that I would be, because I use camera glasses to record, to do it in a covert manner. So you can clearly see that there. He's wearing the Pink Floyd shirt. It's a little blurry, but when I freeze the footage, you can see that's what he's wearing. And I have no doubt now that CSIS and the RCMP are going to start sending this thug a lot more regularly to show up to stalk me. And when they do, I'll just record it, and I'll try to just basically get off the public transit when he's there or wherever he is, just to move away from him. And if he continues to stalk, I'll just document it, and I'll put more evidence out that the RCMP, CSIS, and the Gatineau police are sending criminals to attempt to intimidate people who expose police corruption. The following video documentation is from the same day, May 21st, 2026, just a few hours later at 12:42 p.m. As I exit the house to go out to get some groceries, the Gatineau police have an officer positioned waiting at the intersection right in front of the house. They had the officer waiting there because there is surveillance in the home, so those monitoring my movements ensured that the officer was positioned there so that I would see the police car as soon as I stepped outside. Just exiting here, we're going to have some funny business, I'm sure. They got a... Let's make sure it's locked. It's not locked properly. It's going to go down here. Police, as soon as they step outside, there's police because there's surveillance in the home. So as you can see, I've just stepped out of the house, and the police are right outside, car number 91. And that's the officer, looks like he's about 16 years old there. That's who they hire in Gatineau, people who are unfit to be in their positions, and they just hire them to stalk people. So that's the moment, as you saw there, as soon as I step out of the house, there's a Gatineau police officer parked right there, just at the intersection. They've been doing surveillance on me, well, everywhere I go for the past 5 years, starting in Toronto, continuing on after moving there to Gatineau, and illegal surveillance, invasion of privacy, and they know when I'm going to leave the home, as you can see. And then today they have a bunch of people who they've enlisted to stay home all day when I'm there, because CSIS enlists all these people wherever you move. If you move away, they'll follow you and run a slander campaign and enlist all the people around you. So any tenants, all the people that are in the area. So that Gatineau cop there looked like he's about 16 years old. He doesn't even look old enough to be, you know, able to buy a beer, and yet he's behind the wheel and he's out doing stalking operations. That's who they hire here. They don't care about whether you're competent or not. They just care that you have no capacity, you know, to object to doing things like that, and that you have no conscience. And they raise a lot of the, unfortunately, because Canada's basically going through a phase where we're coming to see very clearly that it's essentially a communitarian communistic society. And so they have all these families that raise their children to take part in whatever the state tells them to do without reservation. So they'll spy on their neighbors, they'll report their neighbors for wrongthink, they'll do whatever the state tells them to do. And so I rarely go out at this time. I rarely go out at this time on weekdays because I'm working the night shift. I just wanted to change it up there. So they got no police, as you saw from the video documentation the other day. They're provably been stalking me for years, but the other night it was very clear where they followed me to 2 different locations. And then as I exit the house, doing surveillance on me in the home, that's Michael Duheme of the RCMP and Dan Rogers of CSIS doing surveillance on me within the home, and also enlisting people to stay there all day to monitor me and to harass me. And when I move to a different area, they enlist more people by going in and spreading more lies and slander. So it's CSIS. Dan Rogers is currently the director of CSIS. He's also involved in covering up rapes of their own employees, as is
just quieting down as I pass here. They have the whole area. They enlist all these people as informants. So whenever you go anywhere, once CSIS places you on a watch list for speaking the truth, and that's what they've done it to me for speaking the truth. They spread slander about you everywhere you go, and they enlist large numbers of people, just like the Stasi in East Germany, to run these Zersetzung operations. So I'm going up to the grocery store here. I don't usually go out at these times of day. So they'll have a bunch of street theater skits set up and whatnot. And they have a bunch of unemployed people who they just pay to sit there where I live, because it's relatively cheap accommodation. That's why I'm living here. So they hire them just to stay home all day when I'm there. So they're there, like, I work night shifts, so they're there at night when I leave, and then they're there all day when I come home, basically, which is just to come home from work and then sleep and then go back to work. So it's run through CSIS and the RCMP, these operations, and they use the low IQ, violent police who have no capacity for thinking, and they use them in Toronto, they use them in Gatineau, they use them in Ottawa. The police are just to be able to get in as a Canadian police officer now at this point, you have to have no conscience, you have to be a psychopath, you have to be willing to lie, abuse people, stalk people, break the laws that you're supposed to uphold. I'm not exaggerating either. And when I say this, it's interesting because years back I used to really support the police. I thought they had a hard job. Before coming to understand what they're really about, how they're controlled through Freemasonry, I always thought highly of them because there were never any issues. And to this day I have no criminal record, yet they stalk me constantly while real criminals are allowed to operate. So that's what Freemasonry and Canadian police are involved in. Running drugs in Quebec, in Ontario, in BC, all these places. And they work kind of like an organized crime syndicate. You can see a lot of the cops have gang tattoos with these, working with these biker gangs who are also associated with the military. And they have these satanic biker gang tattoos, which also endorse the Kabbalah, which is practiced within the Masonic lodges. I've talked about that quite a bit. And they have a code of silence about that, so you can see there they have officers waiting outside the house as I come out today. I'm going to go up here, if the bus comes first, I'm just going to jump on the bus because it's a bit of a walk. So they'll have something set up out here. But as you can see, the cop who's in that car, did he look, he couldn't have been over 20 years old. He looked like he was fresh out of high school. And so tracking me and doing surveillance wherever I go, and the people responsible for monitoring citizens who have committed no crime within their homes with the RCMP is Michael Duheme is the current commissioner of the RCMP, and Dan Rogers is the director of CSIS. They're running these harassment campaigns against citizens, and they're doing it with impunity. Let's see, I positioned down. See the guys in the front? They think I'm going in there. I'm not going in there. So good try with that though. You can see where he's positioned. I'll show you from here. Turn around. He's just positioned there, putting on an act with the phone. Now that I passed, I think he's gone now. I thought I was going to go in there. I don't need to go in there today. That's where they had the Chinese guy standing there holding the phone. Looking at it, just standing there awkward. Trained in theatrics. There's the fire department. Yeah, fire department coming down. Fire department just about to synchronize. It just got off. Let's see here. Here they come now. The lights there. The fire department. They were slightly off because I just got off the bus. They're pretty close though. Watch, the light's gonna go green here. We'll see. Right there, the fire department. I think they're trying to have that lined up there so they'd be there, but a little bit off with the synchronization. So yeah, Gatineau firefighters are. They use them to stalk as well. They're giving the police a break for once here. Fire department there. Truck number 402. Just as I get off the bus. Slightly off with the synchronization, but pretty close. No siren though. Truck number 402.
Side. See the guy still wandering back and forth, holding up what it is. I don't know what he's carrying. It's so seeing that one, there's the police there. Police. I think it was the police. Well, it had to be. You can see the lights. Police there. So that's what, 5 times in the past 2 days they've shown up. I'll show you from here. And I'm just gonna pace. See how long this gets gonna take. They're just dragging it on just so there's people wandering around in there if I go in. Yeah, so that's 5 times in the last, counting yesterday and today with the Gatineau police showing up. Stalking, that'll be online tomorrow too. And I'm just gonna wait till. See, they're still in there, still dragging the whole process on intentionally. Yeah, thanks for that important info. I don't know what to say about that. Trafficking. So now, exiting. Yeah. And the female who entered is still in the store as well. It's when you go into a place like that, are you going to go in and browse for like 2 hours? Not usually. You usually know what you want. You're usually going to get something basic. It's not where you're going to go and do your groceries or anything like that in the store like that. Okay, now if she comes, now watch for the next vehicle to pull up. And so the guy in the car is just gonna. On this side here, got another vehicle waiting there by the stop on that side as well. See the blue car there, and we'll turn from here. And the person who was lingering there, or sending somebody out, the blue car is pulling out now, and then the female in the darker colored car is still just sitting in the car there.
During the winter, unless you're skiing a lot, which I do a lot.
The stalker who lives next door to me the one who CSIS has sent over and over again to follow me from Quebec into Ontario and to show up near my workplace to wait for me to leave so that he could attempt to follow me home and then enter the house directly next door to me, just happens to be standing there in front of me as I enter the station and come down to the trains. This same unemployed stalker who has been paid to follow me around to all different areas for over a year also likely receives free accommodation for his efforts in partaking in breaking the Canadian laws against criminal stalking and harassment. You will likely recognize him if you've watched my video documentation for any extended period of time.
Attention. Eastbound train to Blair is arriving. Please stand away from the platform.
As soon as I come down to the tracks, look, I'll just show you.
Attention.
It's the
Le
stalker
train en
of the
direction
door.
est vers la station Blair approche. Éloignez-vous du bord du quai.
That's the guy who lives next door to me again. As soon as I get here, wait a minute. That's the stalker who lives next door. Right here. Thanks. See if he gets on. I'm not getting on if he does. We'll wait for the next one. That's what it is. As soon as I come down, he's there stalking again tonight. We'll wait till let him get on here. So he got on, okay. Yeah, it's the guy who lives next door to me again being sent to wait for me here at the transit terminal. Two guys. Siren somewhere. Let's see what it is. Sirens. It's probably police or fire department. That's my prediction. Let's see. Okay, now. Watch how it's time now. So as I get on there, is it the police? So they're blaring it now. I don't see what it is. So I don't see if that's some number on. Oh, look this here. Oh my gosh. Look this here. Yeah, same guy. So he's got. That's the same guy who lives next door to me. Now he's here as I'm going home, as I'm on the way home. So obviously I'm not getting on that bus because he's been sent to follow me all the way back to where I live. Same guy. I should. Say that. He just got on that one there. So that was the one I was going to get on. They had him come up here and wait. I didn't see him here. He must have just got here. When I didn't get on the first bus that was going down there, they probably had him come up here. So they had him in the area for sure. But when I waited and didn't get on that first one, you could see he shows up. It's the same guy who lives next door to me, who they're going to send to attempt to follow me back. So when I left for work last night, he shows up down, right as I go down to the train, he's showing up there. And then as I go home tonight, he's showing up here to try to follow me, literally right back to where I live, because he lives next door. So you could see that was him again now. I'm sure, hopefully the glasses caught it. So. Want somebody to pull in here as I'm about to go in. Quickie Mart, same as last night. Suddenly there's a flood of cars here as I get off. They'll have somebody do probably fake coughing when I go in here, although when I predict it, often they won't. So I'll predict it anyway. And if it doesn't happen, then if it does, it does. If it does, I'll be traumatized and I won't be able to recover. Because it's such an effective attack, isn't it? That's right here. I'll show you this is an act here too. And one who just came out here, you can see just lingering and holding the phone there. Those are slides going. So, notice it? There's a flood of traffic coming up here now. See how slow he's going there? He's lingering there, okay. Let's go and turn around to go back the other way now. There's a flood of traffic there. Still lingering. Check it out. So he's just stopped in the parking lot. That's what I showed last night. This same place here. I'll just show you from move up here a little bit. From the distance. It's the same store I was going to go into last night. You'll see in the footage. Now they got a guy just positioned there, just standing there in the parking lot. I'll just show you. Let's search from here. See him there? Nothing unusual about that, is there? What I'm going to do, let me just go around the other way. I'll show you. See if they move him around or if he moves when I go around the other way. So you can see he's just standing there idle, staring out at the phone in the parking lot of the store that I was going to go into. It's the same one I showed last night where they had a flood of people going in there as I was about to enter. Now on my way back, they've got a surveillance role player just standing there in the parking lot putting on an act. I hope, let's see. Sometimes what I like to do when they're doing this is just stand for as long as possible and let them stand there. Record, because they're not supposed to go till I move. See where he is? Okay, now, that's right. Let me, so he's jogging there. Let me go around here. Let me go around this way. Flood of cars here. You can tell. Flood of cars here. Way more than would be usual for this time in the morning. What is it, like 8:30? Yeah, it's like 8:30. 8:34. Still there. Yeah. Oh, right here. No, first pulling up here too, huh? They're gonna have people show, and he's just showing up to park there. I'll just show you from here on the side here. I'm gonna head over here. Check it out. Okay. Where do you? Oh, just pretending to pump the tire there. Just set up some fake thing just so he can pull in there. No one else there, and he's pretending to do the tire pump. Okay, head across here. Yeah, check it out. Parking lot's empty, just pulls in there for that. This is an act too, to let the door held open. Okay. He's just pulled in there because I was over there. Alright, I'm gonna go in here now. Oh, right away too, right away. As soon as I cross, right away they're gonna go into the store now. Most likely. And what's this too? So here, I just want to show you from here, right? Pulls into the empty parking lot right next to where I was. And there. And then right here as well, all of a sudden. So they're all getting the text alert there. I was just going to go, and my intention was just to get off and go to the, and now suddenly here, all coming around. The area, as you can see. And apparently he knows these people because he just made some arm motion to let them down. So it's time for neighborhood patrol first thing in the morning. Make sure they keep the neighborhood clear of domestic terrorists. So he cut across from down way down there. He came from down that way there, and he motioned to them, as you saw there. He motioned to, like, and they said something and laughed. So do they know the guy, or is it just because it's, you know, it's part of the operation? So he just popped up. He was walking down. There's no one else down there either, not down the street, and he just came wandering out from there. Okay. You too. So you see the guy who followed in there. They sent the other guy in to do a skit where he buys like 3 different cases of 20 packs of Budweiser. And then the one there who went in behind me, he just goes right over to the candy, pretends to look, and just holds up a phone. So they're just flooding the store there. Both directions on this side here too. So the weather's getting better now. I'm going to come out here. Yeah, they just, so how many people came in there when I was in this? The first one was, yeah, I'll just go back this way and show you from here. The other stalker too, who's going to stare at his phone all the time. He goes in, stands there, holds up the package of candies or whatever. It wasn't just, now suddenly. Yeah. And he's got to go back around there too. I wonder if that guy's still standing over there in the corner. Let's see. So he just went in for that, came down for that. So it's picking up here. Maybe I'll walk around here. I'll walk around this way. Come up from there. Well, actually, no. I'll go this way. I'll go behind. So what was that? Anyway, I'll check when we get in. Oh, check it out now. See when I come around here, and then suddenly here. So check. I just want to show you from this vantage point. Let's show you from here. Now he's suddenly waiting over there. The other guy. So the one who came out of the store. I'll just show you from here. I'm going to turn briefly, make it casual. The one who came out of the store. Who was just went behind me in the store is there, and then on this side here. Okay, I'll just show you from this side here, both sides here. And notice the amount of activity this one. So here. So he went into the store just behind me there, and he's coming out just to do this here. And then look at this. Same guy who was over there wearing the military camouflage probably came out of the motel there, the back. So that's not open, that place where that guy is there right now. So he came in behind me in the store and goes over and pretends to look at the candies, picks up one thing of candy just so he can go behind me. As he exits the store, he proceeds to just do that at a closed location. That place is closed where he is. And I'm fairly sure he doesn't work there, because if he did, he'd have a key and he'd go in. So I'm off. I'm not on any of these, the property there. I'm just straight from here and down there. Yeah. So that's the surveillance role player there that was sent in. Let's see how long he stays here. The other one there moseyed on back over, who was just picking around by the garbage bin. First they had him over there looking in the bushes, because they've enlisted, people from that motel to partake in these things too.
And the reason it's important that I document these activities where CSIS, the RCMP, and the police in Gatineau and Ottawa are sending violent criminals and gang members to stalk me and make threats of violence against me is because obviously this shows that we have a system where we don't have normal rule of law. You can't go to the police about this because the police are taking part in criminal activities and are enabling criminals and are working with criminals and using criminals to harass people because the police are dishonest, dishonorable criminals and thugs themselves. So naturally, I can't report it to the police, so my only alternative is to document the activities and put these things out there. And if any of these violent, low IQ thugs who have to be in gangs because they're so mediocre as individuals, if any of these people who they send should do anything, should attack me, should do anything to any act of violence against me, I want you to see the people who are involved in sending them to do this, since the Canadian police will not do anything about it, and the Canadian police are, in fact, participating in it. So it's Dan Rogers there next to this violent criminal thug who CSIS is sending to stalk me and attempt to intimidate me because of the videos I've posted exposing the corruption of Canadian police, their involvement in drug trafficking, and the clear connections to Freemasonry, which completely controls all of the Canadian police. So should any of these violent criminals attempt to do anything, I've already shown you in my videos some of these violent thugs making threats against me on behalf of the police and CSIS and the RCMP. So it will be Dan Rogers responsible for that. We already have proof in these videos, as you can see, of Dan Rogers taking part in his organization, taking part in instructing people to break Canadian laws, to stalk and harass me as I simply attempt to go to work. I've shown you that same guy being sent over and over again. That meets the criteria for criminal stalking and harassment. So Rogers and his organization are provably breaking Canadian laws there. Naturally, when they're sending people like this, obviously the only thing I can do is document these activities. And should anything occur, or should any of these people attempt to attack me or commit any act of violence against me, it is Rogers, Dan Rogers, his organization, CSIS, which does the total opposite of everything it says it does, which lies about literally everything it says it does, which does absolutely nothing to combat domestic terrorism, which promulgates endless falsifications and lies about China being involved in the drug trade, while in fact it's CSIS and the RCMP controlling the drug trade throughout Canada and using their useful idiot Freemason police to ensure that people like the individual on the left can function and run their drug running operations for them. So they cut deals with some of these violent criminals and offer them early release upon agreeing to partake in these harassment campaigns to terrorize and harass whistleblowers, truth speakers, people who have exposed corruption. And I'm just showing you this to just as documentation, and if any of these people should do anything to me or any act of violence should be committed against me, this is one of the people involved here in running these operations, and he insulates himself completely from any culpability because the Canadian media is completely controlled and run through the Fiveeyes intelligence services. So that's why you haven't heard about this individual, Dan Rogers, despite the immense power that he has. And he also hides and insulates himself behind mobs of people who he sends out to harass and terrorize his isolated victims. So that's Dan Rogers there, next to this violent criminal thug who his organization are sending to harass and attempt to intimidate me for exposing corruption and Freemasonic police involvement in drug trafficking. And just showing you another picture here of the same criminal who they've been sending to attempt to intimidate me, this gang member. Also they've been doing it in a way that where they can try to deceive, where they make it look like he's bringing his kids to school, but they've got him wearing a shirt, as I explained, which is directed specifically toward me, so that I'll know he's there intentionally, and they want me to see him there. And obviously this is somebody who the RCMP allows to operate, probably connected with their drug running business. So I just want you to see Michael Duheme there. And if any of these thugs and criminals who Duheme and Rogers are sending should do anything, commit any act of violence against me, it's Michael Duheme who is another one of the people sending them to do these things. He's a criminal who his organization essentially operates as an organized crime syndicate that facilitates the distribution of drugs throughout Canada. They ensure that many of these criminals can operate the drug-running businesses, and they have all sorts of false fronts and deceitful operations that they use to cover this up, including the situation with the completely controlled Canadian media. So you'll notice that there's a clear correspondence between a lot of the times when I'll put out a video talking about this, the RCMP involvement in drug trafficking and things like this, all of a sudden all of these state-controlled Canadian propaganda networks like CTV News, the CBC, Global News, will all come out with an identical story talking about how these frauds with the RCMP busted some drug ring. And those are just staged, completely staged stories, fabricated, and they set up these little stage plays with the criminals who they work with. And obviously the media is completely in on it as well. And they put that out to try to counter the truth with lies and deceit to make the public think that these organizations are actually doing anything to deter these things. But we can prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that they're not, because if they were, the drugs simply wouldn't be in the country. The Crown and the elites want to flood Canada with narcotics to debase and demoralize the population, and it is part of a military operation to do that. And they have 1,000 different smoke screens they can use in their controlled media to try to cover that up. But I show you the truth and the facts in these videos. I show you clear connections between the RCMP and these gang members and thugs who they use to threaten and intimidate people who speak the truth. And you can also see how this channel gets shadow banned, because obviously these social media sites are all controlled through this military intelligence as well. And eventually they're going to censor all of it so that all you'll have access to are these state propaganda networks like CTV News, Global News. That's all you'll have is state propaganda, and they will just repeat these lies over and over again to cover up the crimes of the RCMP, the things that CSIS are doing to terrorize their own citizens. They can only do this because they have this controlled media and for this military intelligence operation. But they need the drugs in Canada because the Crown and Freemasonry as a whole are working to destroy, debase, and demoralize the population. So that in order for the drugs to keep flowing, they have to make up all these ridiculous lies about China and all this, which is completely preposterous. With the technology that Canada has to spy on anyone, to be able to see into people's homes, we are expected to believe that they can't use this same technology to completely cut off the drug supply from coming into the country. That's absolutely ridiculous. And so thugs and criminals like Michael Duheme are directly connected with these people who are being sent to harass and intimidate me. And each time they do send one of these people, again, we know they're going to send this guy back because they've shown a clear pattern of sending these same stalkers back to follow me and show up at different locations. So when they do, we'll show the thug and the criminal in a picture next to the people who are sending them each time, just to show you, should any of these people do any act of violence against me, this is one of the criminals who's involved here in it. And he tries to hide himself and insulate himself behind all of the Freemasons at his lodge and the controlled media, who basically give him carte blanche to terrorize his own citizens and do whatever he likes with no repercussions.